got this. This is no big deal. Oh my gosh, who am I kidding? This is a TED Talk. What am I doing? It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Oh Lord, it's not fine. This could be on the internet. Is it too late to back out? It appears so. They are already watching you, so just talk. Hi. I'm Sally, and I am a speaker and a presentation coach. And because of that, I am always completely calm and cool and confident before walking on stage. And obviously that is a lie. But it's okay because in about 3 minutes, my fight or flight instinct will finally calm down a little bit. My adrenaline will subside enough for me to be fully present in this moment and for this to stop feeling like an out-of-body experience, a phrase many of my speakers use to describe high-stakes moments, like this one. Because right now, my body is acting like you are all a ferocious pack of lions about to eat me for dinner. I don't know how sweating wards off lions, but whatever, that's fine. But I know that you're not lions. And yet, there is a tiny bit of truth to that statement. Enough truth that, statistically speaking, about 97% of you would rather be dead than be where I am right now. And I totally get it. Like, this is not for the faint of heart. I work with people every day who have talent, but think that because they have to work so hard at it, that it's not enough. Have life experience, but think it's not as good as expertise. Have a unique message or a story to share, but wonder if they could ever really belong up on stage. Not enough, not as good as, don't belong in this elite speakers club. I speak, they say, but I'm not a speaker. And I'm afraid they mean these people, because if you Google speaker, this is what you get. And I know that these people aren't real, but it's kind of exactly right, because there's so many speakers out there who aren't real. And then people come to me and say, Sally, help me be a perfect speaker. Help me do everything right. Help me memorize like beautifully crafted prose that just flows out of my mouth. Help me avoid any mistakes or mishaps, and oh God, don't let anybody think anything bad about me. And to some extent, I can, because I'm really good. But then I have to tell them, like, I don't want you to be a speaker. I don't know about you, but I feel like we have enough of these perfect speakers out there. Aside from the fact that they're like slowly numbing audiences everywhere, unfortunately, the problem is that people think that's what speaking is. And so to speak, they have to become something other than they are, which is baloney. And believing that is keeping too many of us from sharing our most important, most daring ideas, from owning our stories in a way that really connects us with each other, and from stepping up and out as leaders in this world that so desperately needs it. So if you don't think you're a speaker, awesome. Don't be a speaker. Be an unspeaker. A what? I know. Okay. Let me share with you some of my favorite unspeakers. There is Ben Zander, the conductor of the Boston Philharmonic. He is so much fun to watch. He leaps up on the stage in his tennies, and he like breaks all the rules. I love that he breaks the rules. And then there's Liz Gilbert, the author of Eat, Pray, Love. She is so different from Ben. Like, she's just stories and insight, so reflective. It feels like I'm talking to a friend. Hey, Liz. Let's be friends. Oh my gosh. And then there is Brad Montague, the creator of Kid President. He is so joyfully unassuming and kind of awesomely awkward. And that's how he speaks. It just implores us to create out of love. And it just makes me want to stand up and applaud. There's Steve Jobs, who wasn't the most technically great speaker, but he obviously had powerful ideas. There's Malala. Oh, Malala. Right? She speaks against unthinkable odds and has become such a powerful leader. And then Queen Brené Brown, right? One of our all-time favorite TED speakers who talks about shame and vulnerability.
Well, ironically, the day after her TEDx talk went live and kind of viral, she went into what she calls a shame spiral because she wasn't sure if it was worthy. That talk has been seen by millions of people and has changed lives. None of them would call themselves a speaker, and yet they speak. And the same could be true for any of us. So if you have ever felt that pull, and I know you have, then it is time for you to embrace the 3 truths of the unspeaker. And truth number 1 is that they do it like they do it, and not like anybody else. All right, so when I ask people what makes a moving presentation, the number 1 thing they say again and again is authenticity, right? And we know that. We recognize it as brave and beautiful, and we applaud it in other people. But when it's our turn, it is much easier. It is much less risky to put on a little layer of self-protection. I worked at an organization for many years coaching speakers that went out and talked to kids. And kids are the best and most brutal audience because they have a keen sense for the authentic and they will let you know. And every year we'd get a new batch of speakers in and they would watch their more experienced coworkers wow these kids. And I would say to them, okay, now don't do it like experienced speaker so-and-so, like do it like you would do it. But inevitably, they would do it like awesome speaker so-and-so because it was a proven and safe path. And it kept them from really failing. And it did. But it also kept them from doing something real and transformative. Until months later, after hard work, they would dig a little deeper, slowly peel away that layer of someone else and find their own voice. And in the process, they would not only become more confident, they would not only have a lot more fun speaking, but they would be more impactful. And that is the trick of authenticity. That though it is about us, until we can shift our focus away from ourselves, we cannot give our authentic selves to the audience, to the people who are in the room with us. And that is what an unspeaker must do, to shift their focus away from how they might benefit or how they might fail or fall on their face and focus on the people in the room, right? Which creates this magical thing that happens because we're all in this moment together. It's live theater. And a few months after one of those newbie speakers had started and had worked really hard to find his voice, he came to me and said, Sally, today the weirdest thing happened. I actually saw the kids' faces. And I know they've been there, but today I saw them. He had made the shift. And I think he had realized that his job was to show up, to see, and to be seen. And authenticity should feel more like a taking off than a putting on. And unspeakers take it off. Whoa, that came out wrong. You guys know what I mean. Keep your clothes on. All right. Truth number 2, unspeakers embrace their imperfections and use them to create a connection with their audience. So people ask me all the time, like, well, what if I screw up? What if everything goes wrong? And of course, the hard answer is it might. But the better answer is it could be awesome anyway. Take, for example, this delightful BBC video that you have seen. Oh my gosh, took the internet and my heart by storm. All right, here he is, Professor Robert Kelly, having the interview of his life on the BBC. This is a big moment, one you do not want to mess up, but he's ready, and then this happens. In walks his daughter, because working from home is awesome. And just totally interrupts him because toddlers, they don't care whatever you have going on, right? They're living their own life, and he hasn't figured it out yet. I love his face. Oh, my gosh. But it gets better. In flies the wife, who's like, what? No, right? She was probably just trying to have a moment alone, Oh, my gosh. I love this video so much. Like this video, millions of people and I cried watching this video for like a week. It was amazing. But let's be real. Like, this is probably not the viral video that Professor Robert Kelly was hoping to get famous for, right? I'm sure he had visions of people talking about his brilliant analysis rather than his daughter's brilliant comedic timing. But thanks to his toddler, I feel connected to him now. I am way more interested in what he has to offer the world now that I feel like I know him a little bit. It was real. And the next time I need an expert on North Korea, I'm talking to this guy. Right? So often, we are totally missing the point of these interactions. It is not to impress you. I mean, I am hoping I'm impressing you a little bit, but that is not the point. The point is connection. And sometimes the unexpected, the unplanned for, the unrehearsed happens, and we stumble into presentation gold. Because audiences, you don't want perfection, do you? No, right? Right? Perfection actually kills that connection that we're trying to create, right? And it's not just how the imperfect message comes across, but what our imperfect message is. One of my speakers named Janine talks to parents, and I remember sitting in the audience the first time listening to her thinking, like, wow, she has got it all figured out. All this intentional time around the family dinner table and beautiful conversation with her daughter, and screen time is under control, and wow. And as a parent, I was sitting there kind of feeling bad. I mean, I'm not the best parent, but I do manage to get my 3 kids out the door fully clothed most of the time. So, win for me. But, you know, what was so hard for me, she made look so easy. And she was trying to inspire me, but I wasn't inspired. I felt disconnected. Like, she does not get my life. We are too different. But I knew that wasn't actually true. So I sat down with her as a coach and said, okay, Janine, I actually care very little about what you know. I care so much more about how you know what you know. How did you get there? When did you fail? When was it hard? Where's your mess? Like, can I hear that story? Because then as an audience member, I can say, me too. I have been there. Right? And the hard fought for journey is not only a much better story to tell and way more interesting, but it helps me feel like I can make that journey too. Especially now in this digital age where we can, reach millions of people with the press of a button. Our credibility isn't built anymore on how serious and perfect and experty we are. It is built on connection, on trust and resonance and belief. And that starts with us being human, right? So you might screw up, everything might go wrong, you may share the tough journey, but that may be the very thing that connects us to each other. Authenticity, connection, these things are only possible if we can embrace this final truth, and that is that unspeakers walk into the risk, even if they think they don't belong there. Because we all wonder if we belong up here. Right? That part does not discriminate between the speaker and the unspeaker. Unspeakers just admit it. To speak is to be vulnerable, to battle back this sometimes insecure little 7th grader that lives in our heads sometimes and tries to convince us that what we have to say, or indeed who we are, might not have value. But to move people, we must risk. We must take the stage. Yes, we might reveal ourselves. Yes, everything might go wrong. Yes, it is scary. But unspeakers do it anyway, because that is how we're going to move this world. And what I find so compelling about this art form is really exemplified in Martin Pistorius. He is a TED speaker and gave this TED Talk about an infection that had gotten into his brain. And let me tell you this about Martin. Martin cannot speak. I watched this talk. He sat in his wheelchair and hardly moved. And yet I was riveted. It is a beautiful talk about connection. Can you imagine if Martin had succumbed to the same myths that run through all of our heads that tell us we might not have what it takes? We would have missed Martin's story. We would have missed him. So whatever qualifications you think you lack, whatever skills you might not have yet, you belong on this stage too. So it turns out you don't have to love the stage or love speaking. You don't have to be beautiful or the smartest person in the room or have a book or like wear a blazer. Right? You just have to be you. And you know, the conversations I have with my speakers, and this one tonight, at some point, I'm reminded that this is not just about speaking. We are talking about life. The same challenges we face on the stage are the ones we face in life. Unspeaking truths are life truths: authenticity, connection, risk. And you know, we're never done working on them. I know I'm not, because we are human. And it turns out that is exactly what the world needs.
Phew, you made it.
Thank you.